Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently working on building a bunch of government administrations. Now I've moved some of these up in the list, and the reason why I've done that, and really we can move these that have progress back up, but the reason why I moved some of them up in the list was to consolidate all of these that have reduced construction efficiency down at the bottom. And so that'll be absolutely great. We'll have that continue. We really want this national militia movement to go away. Workers' protections is something that we're interested in doing, and we are, of course, working on that. 10% enactment success chance sounds great. So we'll happily take that. What is this going to do to our economy? Well, it's probably going to tank it a little bit, I'm guessing. Because the thing that I don't like about workers' protections, and why I usually prefer to not get workers' protections, is that what it does is it ties working conditions to the minimum wage, which is very strange to me. It basically means that if you have your working conditions at minus 100%, your minimum wage is so high that all of your prices just skyrocket. That's why I usually don't like it, but I guess that just means we're going to have to live with some amount of mortality, which I guess is okay. I mean, we're getting 2 million per year at this point. So that seems reasonably fine. I'm not too concerned about it, but we'll have to figure out where that balance is. It's almost certainly not at 100%. So we'll see how that goes. We're getting all these government administrations finished up eventually. I want to check here. There's 2 down here. Okay. I'm going to move those up to the top. For now, that's okay. We're going to not be working on these 2, but I'm not too concerned about that. That should be absolutely fine for the moment. We're just going to get these government administrations done, then we're going to get these kind of slower government administrations done, and then we're going to work on iron mines. That's the idea here. As far as the low standard of living, oh, a stall here. That's kind of gross. We're going to take a setback. That's fine. So as far as all of that goes, the workers' protections should drive our standard of living up significantly. Although I think that our biggest problem right now does come down to our number of unemployed people. I think that we just need to get these people put to work, and that would be absolutely great. We would love it if they'd move over to somewhere like Hokkaido. That would be absolutely great. Hokkaido or Sakhalin, either of those would be amazing. We'll see how that ends up doing. Now, to be clear, raising the minimum wage is not going to help our upper strata in Sakhalin, who are for some reason starving, but the tooltip will not tell us why. I don't know why they're starving, but they absolutely are. Wow, that was fast on workers' protections. Okay, so it moves up to consideration. That's great. Port max level. Okay, we may want to build out port. Northern Territory and Yangzhou. Okay. Do we want to build out our ports? I think that right now the answer to that is no, although Korea's deleted a bunch of their ports. Noted. We did reset production methods, right? Yes, we did. Okay, just wanted to double check that. That looks good. We may want to put a consumption tax back in sometime soon. This would almost certainly be liquor, just so that we're still running a surplus. We want to be paying down what debt we have here. Although it's not the biggest of deals, we want to run some form of surplus. So we'll put in that consumption tax on liquor and obstructionism in the industrialists. Okay, we'll take some minus opinion from the industrialists for right now. Definitely awkward on that one, but sure. So when are we going to be done with these government administrations? The answer is actually fairly soon. That's making solid progress. So no problems there. Economically, our economy is absolutely exploding right now. Our standard of living is not going with. So that's definitely indicative of some issues. No doubt about that. I would love to change our taxation. We're not really in a position to do that. We did just bump up our social security, so that is going to be a lot more welfare going in. Yeah, 300K right now in welfare payments. That's a lot. We do pass straight into Ascent here, so that looks good. We'd really like to not be paying this welfare. Now, our welfare is primarily going... I want to check here. How exactly do they determine who gets welfare? that receive wages lower than the defined fraction of the normal wage. Okay. It's determined from the average wages paid by industries across incorporated states. Noted. So this is going to be a lot of welfare right now. Now, that welfare is not really budging our standard of living, which is actually quite surprising to me. We'll keep an eye on that. But if that's the case, then we'll cut our welfare. Because there's no point in giving this money if it's not actually helping our standard of living. So if we look in here, what is the actual issue here? They have a standard of living below the minimum expected rate, and 25.1% of them are receiving welfare payments, raising their standard of living. It does come up to 12.6. Okay, noted. They pay an average of 21.1% of their income in taxes. And of those, this is primarily poll taxes. So we would really like to get off of poll taxes. Pneumatic tools have been unlocked. That is good. And people are migrating to Chugoku. Okay. Honestly, that's not really a good thing that people are migrating right now because we need jobs. But we're working on those. So for now, that's probably reasonably okay. We could raise taxes here. I'm going to put in another consumption tax again on luxury clothes this time. We clearly need it to offset our welfare payments, which are extraordinarily high. We are seeing our standard of living come up from it, though. So that is good. That's very, very good. What we'd really like to see is these radicals really start to tick down, and they are. The question is, does workers' protections go straight on through here? Well, we'll see. We've only got a 44% chance. It may or may not. These government administrations, we are nearly done with the easy ones. Okay, so there's workers' protections. Now then, we'll see what that ends up doing to our overall economy. I expect it to create significant issues. At least it has in the past. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's check in on our government. We're at 57, contested government. Okay. Can we get any taxation changes? I'd like to move to proportional. Samurai and petite bourgeoisie. The samurai are in government right now. That's kind of horrific. Oh, yeah, that's quite horrific. Okay, I don't like that at all. That's, of course, a graphical glitch. Ugh. Let's not do that. I would very much like to move to proportional taxation. We can't do that at this time. The samurai support it, but we can't yet get that going. Okay. So that's definitely noted. We're 5 weeks away from getting these government administrations done, and 9 weeks away from getting them done overall. So that's looking great. Iron mines are under construction at this juncture. Peasants and unemployment numbers are about holding steady at this moment. And literacy numbers are kind of holding steady. I expected them to continue going up a bit. We might have a lack of education access. That is a possible thing because we don't have, like, compulsory primary school. That would definitely be a good thing to have, but that will run us into possibly some more standard of living issues. That said, we're not actually having significant economic issues from our minimum wage going through. So we're on workers' protections, and in our workplace safety office, we're at max, so plus 75% minimum wage. That seems to be okay. We should definitely bump up our home affairs so we can do that. Let's get that going. And at this point, we're definitely seeing the radicalism going down for national militia. That looks great. We're very happy about that. This is still 64.3k individuals becoming more radical every month, and this is 240. That's not a lot. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing our radicalism ticking down. So that's very good. And our loyalists are ticking up as well, broadly. Government administrations are finished as of now. So now we're just working on iron mines, and we're going to keep an eye on making sure that everything is not running afoul of significant costs. But this is definitely fascinating that our issue was indeed our minimum wage. This might be something that is just the case in more recent versions of the game. I've not tried raising the minimum wage for a long time. Like, basically since the game came out. And the reason why that created problems at that time is because the maximum price of goods is capped. So essentially it just created massive inflation and meant that everything was tremendously expensive. And that was a problem, but that does not appear to be the case here. So that might be something that has changed since this was last attempted. It's been a while, so that might well be it. At this point, we're definitely continuing to pay down our debt, and we're up over 300 million on our GDP now. That's looking solid, but what's looking best here is our standard of living is almost to its peak point. So that's great. Obviously, this was always going to raise standard of living, but it's intriguing that it was necessary for us here to increase the standard of living. Nothing else was really functioning. We absolutely did need to raise minimum wage. So that's certainly fascinating. And goes against what I've experienced in this game previously. It might be due to where we're starting here. And it might be due to the game changing. It's hard to say. I'm not exactly sure on that. But regardless, it's working, and so that's good. The question is, where are we going to cap out our standard of living? It's also meaning, well, our welfare payments are actually holding steady right now. Our welfare payments have not changed at all. So that's definitely intriguing. That said, we should be putting a lot more people to work. So we've got 2 million peasants and about 6 million unemployed. Indeed. That's still a lot, but it is currently down to a third of our employment instead of half. So that's, good. I mean, we have 25.5 million employed right now. So we need to continue to work on these iron mines. That is absolutely the case. We're working on radios right now. And radios are going to finish up basically now. That's great. So now we can have access to radios. And the question is, what do we go for next? Something along the lines of arc welding? Maybe. I don't think plastics are really a good route for us at this moment. But more construction is not necessarily bad right now. So we'll get to work on that. That sounds good. I do want to get at least some amount of electrics industries underway. Let's find out in Kansai. Okay. So I'm going to queue up here in Kansai. I'm going to queue up 51 of them, which is a lot, and we're going to need infrastructure. And that's understood. So we're going to get those going, and it's going to be a pretty large investment. No doubt about that. So that's absolutely fine. The Communist Party has been founded. That is expected. And at this point, the question is, well, what are we going to do with those industries? Well, what we need to do is we need to produce telephones, and we need to produce radios. So we're going to get radio production going. We're going to publicly trade them. And for now, that will be fine. We can eventually switch down to telephone switchboards, but we'll need central planning for that. Do we want the Constitutional Reform Party to win here? Honestly, we want the Imperial Rule Party to win. But we'll take the railway building throughput, I guess. That'll be fine. The Imperial Rule Party winning would be good at this point. No doubt about that. 25 weeks on all of these electrics industries. That seems okay. So we're going to continue to work on that. The iron mines are backburnered a little bit because we're going to want to ramp up our barracks again. That's going to be a relatively high priority. We can also go to Modern Port here, which I feel like is probably a decent idea. That might cause some issues with oil versus coal, but we'll keep an eye on that. So standard of living is improving across the board, I think. 81% below the minimum expected in Hokkaido. We can fix this by expanding the amount of available work in the state to increase the earning of this pop. Can we, though? I'm not convinced that we can. Yeah, there's no one here to work in our jobs that we already have. That's not going to happen. building additional jobs here is just going to cause infrastructure issues. We need people to work in these jobs. That's what we need. So ultimately, it's just a matter of time, right? They'll get there. They have some population heading in. Yeah, pop is definitely growing in those locations. We can do fireside chats, and actually, yeah, we'll take some authority. Sure, sounds good. That's a good amount of authority, to be honest. So that'll be fine. Electrics Industries are 18 weeks away, and we definitely need to be continuing to pay off our debt. So we're chilling at 13.1. I think broadly, our core problem is Hokkaido and Sakhalin. So are these people just working crappy jobs? There are no peasants here. There's 40,000 people working in the barracks. So in that case, raising our military wages would probably be pretty helpful. Yes. We're going to park this right at the normal wage. And that will buff up a fair amount of, at least here in Hokkaido, the populace. This is about 40k here right now. And actually, this is 100% of their workforce. 39.9k. Oh no, this is in the barracks. Hang on. Checking in here. The number of employed people here, it doesn't actually say. But this is still a significant portion of it. So that'll be relatively fine. That's a good thing to do. They're traitors to the nation. Absolutely. That'll be fine. The Constitutional Reform Party, again, it doesn't really matter. I would prefer the Imperial Rule Party to win, and that is definitely what they're doing. So that's looking fine for the moment. Yeah, this is up to 13.2 now. So in Sakhalin, out of curiosity, who even is in this? There are 45 pops in the upper strata right now. And they're starving. Why are they starving? Who is upper strata here? The capitalists? Uh-huh. So why are you starving? Due to wealth. 2. So they just have insufficient wealth. The capitalists do. Intriguing. Well, regardless, this is definitely helping matters, so that's okay. 10% momentum added to the communists. Okay. The U.S. is improving relations with us. I do want to get at least this first round of electrics industries done here. There's not that many electrics industries that were queued up here, but this first round will be a big boon for us. But of course, we're going to have to create some demand for their radios and their telephones, right? So that'll be an important thing. We don't have central planning yet, and we could definitely have Tohoku only be working on automobile production. Yes, that is going to create a huge, huge problem. Mostly because we currently have a rubber shortage. Yeah, that would explain it. Definitely. So I want to import some rubber here. We'll just get like 3 of these going. That'll be fine. We have a free government reform here. And what is our best reform? We're on our best reform. Yeah. So contested is the best we can do right now. Noted. For now, that's okay. No major issue there. We're still working on paying down this debt a little bit. There's not a lot that's going to have to be. Our welfare payments have been rising a little bit. This is probably just due to the number of unemployed people. Yeah, that's what it is. So we've got a huge number of unemployed people, but that is mostly because we spent a lot of time working on those electrics industries, right? That was 30 weeks. So that's not shocking. As we finish up a huge chunk of them, though, that does deal with some of our unemployment. Home Affairs has come up. We can certainly think about dropping off our welfare. It's probably not a terrible idea. U.S. has a secession in the Great Plains? Okay, Pueblo Uprising. I hope they have fun with that. So we're working on these iron mines. That is a big part of what we're working on right now. We mostly just need to get people to work. That is the overall goal at this moment. So iron mines, coal mines, lead mines, sulfur mines, these are all good things. We need to get as many jobs as we can right now. We're kind of falling behind on this curve at this moment, and it needs a lot of work. No doubt about that. So one thing we can think about doing, a trade agreement with the US, sure, I guess that's okay. But that does hurt us a little bit for the time being. That's fine for now. We're not too concerned about that. We can also bring up our government wages, which is going to be quite a lot, but that's not a bad idea either. We know we have a lot of government workers that are struggling right now. So we'll get that going, and I'm going to bump up... Do we do a consumption tax here? Luxury furniture and tobacco and glass. Okay. I don't like it, but here we are. I would rather do that than upping our per capita taxation. So we're chilling at 13.2. That's all looking good. We need to get these people to work, though. We've got 9 million unemployed right now, roughly a third of our workforce. That needs work. No doubt about it. So that basically means we need additional construction, is what that means. Okay. Well, I guess that's fine. I'm going to build 10 in Kansai. Let's get that going. Additional construction does seem to be necessary here, because we really do need to build faster. That does mean that things are going to be a little rough for us financially, but we can work towards dropping our welfare a little bit, which would not be bad. I'm going to drop this down to level 1. We may cancel that at level 2 if it feels right, but for now we'll get started on that. So these construction sectors are going to be fairly expensive. That's expected. No shockers there. Market access issues, yeah, we'll deal with those. And insufficient construction for our investment pool. So obviously we do need to expand our construction. There's no doubt about that. So that's fine. We've got some construction expansion going on here. We're going to get these electrics industries done eventually, but we're going to need to move this down. We're on squad infantry. Okay, perfect. We're going to need to move these to squad infantry eventually, but that will be quite expensive. The question is, do we think we can afford to be ramping up our barracks now? That is quite a question. We're working on these iron mines, and we've got quite a lot of iron mines to work on. Let's see what this does to our economy, like overall. I want to know. We're not going to move our opium down. We have no source of opium, so for now this is okay. If we were to max all of this out, what would this actually be settling at? I don't necessarily intend to do this, to be clear. I want to see what this settles at. Radios, artillery, ammunition shortages. Okay. None of that is shocking to me. And we're going to back this off. And we're going to back these off as well. Down to mana wars. Yeah, now we're going to be short on mana wars. We basically need to remain on monitors. So now that we know that we're going to need to work on our arms industries. Currently, that's negative financially, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. I think what we need to do more than anything, is we need to change off of per capita taxation. We need to get proportional taxation. So basically, samurai and petit bourgeoisie is what we need here. Samurai are in government right now, but that does not give us any sort of support for it, which is sad. Very, very sad indeed. But for now, we're going to finish up these electrics industries. Not that they're going to do all that much. I want to be clear about that. As of right now, these electrics industries are not that useful until we create demand for them. This is just a preemptive sort of thing. So that's fine, but it's going to take a little bit before those are really good to go. These iron mines are nearly completed at this point, so that's looking good. I want to check in on our infrastructure here. So we could definitely use an additional infrastructure in Kansai and then some 3 or 4 in Yangzhou. We'll get that going. I want to check in on taxation capacity. So we're going to need 1 here, 2 here. We're going to need 3 here. Cool. So that all looks good for the time being. We'll get those underway. These electrics industries are almost complete. There we go. And how are we doing on our unemployment now? We're just kind of holding firm. We need a little bit more construction, I think, which is going to result in us raising taxes, unfortunately. But I think that we do absolutely need more construction here. So let's sort by labor in Yongo. Okay. Oh, I put those at the bottom of the list. I meant to put them at the top. There we go. We'll just move these right on up. So that's going to be fairly expensive. We'll see how much effect that has on our standard of living. That said, with our wages being higher, we're probably more resilient to that. So that would be good. We'll keep an eye on that. And we're going to get these construction sectors done here in another week. Beautiful. So those are, of course, going to ramp up our costs quite a bit. Checking in here, welfare payments is at 326K. And that's been holding fairly steady. But that is to be expected, given our unemployment numbers. We absolutely do need to get more construction going here. And I think we get even more than this, to be honest. So right over here, we'll get all those moved up. I queued them up at the bottom again for no reason whatsoever. We're just going to move them straight on up. There we go. Phenomenal. So we clearly need additional construction to keep up with our jobs numbers. There's no doubt about that. Zeppelins have been unlocked. Okay, cool. That's fine for now. I want to check in here. Yeah. This is no longer saying we need more construction for our private constructions. So that's a good sign. No doubt about that. And now we're building quite a bit faster. No doubt about that one too. So with all of that additional construction, will that be enough to deal with this unemployment? My guess is yes. I suspect this will be enough. But we're going to need to grow into this economy. We'll see how this goes. We might want to consider one more round of them. So here in Yangzhou, I'm going to bring this right on up. This is going to be expensive, and we're probably going to run into some issues there. We have seen our standard of living declining due to our taxes, and I do expect that this is going to be a pretty significant issue at this point. But we clearly need the construction. What we really need is to get off of per capita taxation. That's the big thing that we need right now. But let's get this done, and keep in mind, reducing our welfare payments would be huge. Absolutely enormous. 332K on that. We're already working towards it. As soon as our institutions here change, that'll be the idea. So that'll be fine. We're going to get these iron mines finished on up. And these railways will finish eventually as well. Minus 50K here right now isn't too bad. This should absolutely be enough to be steadily declining our number of unemployed people, which is good. We really, really need to be doing that. We're 42 weeks away at this point on our construction queue. That sounds good. And we're continuing to work on these iron mines, but they should be very, very close to done now. Yeah, we're 9 weeks away, and our coal mines are being actually entirely worked on. Our lead mines are getting started as well. So that's absolutely okay. Looks good. It is past time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to deficit spend for a little bit until we can get our welfare brought down. That is going to be the goal here. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.